I'm going to tell you about a mother who has a 7-year-old daughter, Yuki. For several months, Mom has been learning to love Yuki and teach her how to be loving and responsible. The change in the family has been remarkable, well past anything Mom thought was possible. Imagine this, in fact. Whining, teasing, and anger have disappeared in the family. People think, oh, that's not possible, except I get to see it every day. Parents call and say, gone. There's no more. And it's all about the parents. So Mom took Yuki to a commercial indoor playground, one of those places where you pay and they have all kinds of stuff for kids to do. And you rent toys and you can rent space and rooms even where your children can be by themselves. And they were having a great time when they were joined in the room by another 7-year-old girl, Sarah. This new girl had never been taught how to be loving or responsible. It was kind of obvious. So as they played, Mom taught her several things, the new girl. Among them, she taught her how to ask for what she wanted instead of just whining or grabbing. And she taught her how to clean up the toys that she was using before moving on to a different activity. Imagine that. Mom is teaching a child she's never met how to be responsible and how not to whine. I'm Greg Bear. Whining is the gateway behavior leading to other negative behavior patterns that can disconnect us from others and a fulfilling life. Understanding the escalation of whining and how to address it early with your children is crucial. I recommend watching Chapter 0 on realloveparents.com. It's free and one of the most important lessons you can teach your children. Now, let's go back to Yuki and her mom, who's teaching the new girl, Sarah. Sarah quickly adjusted to what Mom was teaching. Kids actually want to do the right thing. And the three of them were having a great time. Loving, enjoying themselves, being responsible, no whining or grabbing. Perfect. Then 3 additional girls, aged about 10 or so, came into the room. And they were laughing and playing at the other end of the room. Mostly, they were watching social media on their phones. And this is very common. 10-year-old girls go to school, they go to the movies, they go to play places, and they play on their phones. After several minutes, the new girl, Sarah, walked over to the other 3 girls, who did not include her, because remember, she's like 7 years old. But they did allow her to sit close to them. But it's like at 7, 10-year-olds often treat 7-year-olds as an irritation. Sarah watched the 3 girls who were openly mocking in a kind of a condescending way. They were mocking everybody and everything they saw, both on their phones and in person. Among other things, they asked Sarah, what were you doing over there with them, referring to Mom and Yuki? Sarah said, well, they talked about cleaning stuff up and being responsible. And the 3 girls just roared with laughter. That is stupid. You don't have to listen to them tell you that stuff. And all of this was accompanied by, as you can imagine, a great deal of attitude. After 10 minutes of being with the 3 older girls, Sarah returned to Yuki and her mom. And immediately, Mom noticed a striking change in Sarah's attitude. She threw toys on the floor, refused to pick up after herself, grabbed toys from Yuki, and exhibited a snotty attitude toward Yuki's mother. At one point, Mom said to Sarah, it's time to clean up the toys. And Sarah said, I don't have to clean up anything. You can't make me. Now notice, after only 10 minutes, she had been just beautifully behaved and was having a great time. But after 10 minutes with the other 3 girls, Sarah's attitude had transformed from cooperative and happy to defiant and selfish. So why am I telling you this story? Because it illustrates the powerful influence our children feel from the children around them. Our children are neurologic sponges. They absorb information far faster than adults. And in the process, they're developing brain pathways that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. Every influence matters. Every event matters. It's establishing neural pathways that often last. We all know that other children greatly influence our children. Obvious. Now, even worse, consider the influence of the internet, especially social media, where thousands, this was just 3 kids I told you about, on the internet, thousands of kids are screaming defiance, rebellion, and addictions at your children. Our children are on screens for an average of 8 hours a day, listening to horrifying lies and attitudes for periods far longer than the mere 10 minutes where we saw a transformation in Sarah's attitude toward Mom and Yuki. 10 minutes, big change. And kids are spending 8 hours a day with this, with many more voices. Social media is dedicated to spreading ideas. And the ideas that are most inflammatory and exciting are the ideas that attract the greatest number of visitors. Drama sells, excitement, blood, protest, defiance, anger. They all sell. Weirdness attracts. Influencers sell attitudes and behaviors that draw people into the drama. They sell the normality and the desirability of behaviors that we know to be inconsistent with love and happiness, like conflict, victimhood, racism, anti-racism, emotional attacking, gossip, cutting, anorexia, marijuana use, and on and on. Websites and individuals teach our kids that smoking weed, for example, is harmless, that cutting themselves is brave, and it's an individual expression of who they are. It's insanity, but these people are standing in front of our kids and teaching them as though they were teaching a classroom. And our children listen like they were in class. These influencers and people on social media laugh about porn addiction at age 12 and gather together online to engage in gaming and social media addiction. Most sites teach kids overtly or by implication how to be disrespectful and even defiant toward their parents and other adults. Not only do our kids see the defiance and attitude, but the kids teach them how to be defiant and disrespectful to their parent, to you. Amazing. Our kids are being overwhelmed by the distractions, distortions, and the lies of social media and other websites. So what can we do? One possibility was demonstrated on October 2, 2023, by the Education Secretary of the United Kingdom, Gillian Keegan, who banned the use of mobile phones in all schools in the United Kingdom, both during school lessons and during breaks between classes. The government cited studies that have found links between phone use and poor mental health among children, including anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. And studies like this are now just blooming all over the place. Phones kill, is what studies are showing. The studies also mentioned growing concerns that pupils are using phones to bully each other on social media and for sexual harassment. The phone ban in the UK is intended to address these challenges as well as the simple distractions and disruptive behavior caused simply by looking at phones in schools. You can't pay attention to the teacher and the phone at the same time. In June 2023, Finland, consistently rated among the top handful of countries in education in the world, banned phone use during class in order to reverse a decline in their exam results. A week later, a major United Nations report recommended that phones be banned to improve learning and to tackle classroom disruption and cyberbullying. Everybody who has a brain in their head is saying phones are terrible for our kids. They're removing them from school. Parents and experts are consistently demonstrating despite all these warnings, a profound cowardice about limiting or eliminating their children's phone use. Why? Because parents are afraid of their children. They're afraid of their disapproval. It's kind of embarrassing to even say that. And this issue is also very, very simple to solve. Here's how simple it is. Uncounted studies, reams of data prove that we simply cannot do two things simultaneously as well as we can do one. Easy. It's impossible to do. There is no such thing as multitasking, especially for children. Now, a question we must answer. Is the education of our children important? I'm not being flippant. Does it matter? Do we care that they are prepared for life? Do we care that they arrive in life educated? The real question is, what could possibly be more important than educating our children? The school education of our children prepares them for their careers and for general productivity in society. They cannot simultaneously focus on this education while they are texting, sexting, and addicted to social media and porn. We talk about how much to let them use their phones in school. Insanely. It's been shown to be a poison, and we're talking about how much poison to let them take. The real question is, are we prepared to stand by while they are not preparing for life? Are we prepared to stand by and do nothing while they're being poisoned during their education for life? More important, in the schools, we teach them to be responsible. Now, most important, at home, we teach them love and happiness and responsibility, again, and to care for the happiness of others. At home, we teach them not just about careers, we teach them how to live as children and for the rest of their lives in relationships and in everything. Can they learn these inexpressibly important principles and feelings while we allow them to bury their faces and their souls, for that matter, in the screens that we give them? The answer couldn't be anything but a resounding no. We can't afford to do that. We as loving parents couldn't possibly claim to be teaching them while we allow them to be distracted and poisoned. They can't learn while they're constantly distracted and addicted by people who are dedicated to the spread of lies and harm. The people who run social media and porn and other sites are specifically trained to addict our children to behaviors that will distract them from what matters. Exactly as tobacco companies have long designed their products to addict people to using them. Am I comparing tobacco to social media and phones? Yeah, almost exactly. It's damaging their brains, their use of phones. Our children are drowning in a sea of dopamine. They're moving from one excitement to the other, and they're being poisoned by the waters. They're drowning in poison waters. If we don't adequately prepare ourselves and prepare them, they will drown or die of the toxicity that surrounds them. Will die, not might die. Let me make this plainer. You heard the story of how Sarah lost her sense of responsibility and goodness and happiness in only 10 minutes of associating with 3 girls. And yet we turn our children over for hour after hour every day to people whose goal is to take our children captive and lead them away entirely from genuine connection, from real love, and from happiness. Can we stand by and allow that? But I'm not here to forecast doom and gloom. I'm not pessimistic. Fear will not help us. I'm simply describing what we need to do. As we love our children, we take them onto a stable raft in the waters, and then we take them to an unsinkable ship. We teach them to build their own ship where they can be safe. We give them an engine and navigation charts so they can create their own path amidst the icebergs and reefs that surround them. We parents have to pay attention to every single negative influence on our children, every single negative attitude they encounter. We must be aware and prepare them. And sometimes we must protect them from influences whose danger they could not possibly understand at their age. Like what? Oh, phones. Either we love and teach our children, or they will be seduced by the powers of the world, which are sucking them into the darkness. The initial steps into darkness, like getting a phone for a child, might appear unremarkable. But one errant step leads to another. And if we don't pay attention to these small steps, they lead to consequences we cannot imagine until they happen. And then often we're too late. Do you have the courage as a parent to remove your child's phone? Not just to talk about how long they use the phone or where, but to get rid of it. It's a decision that requires great courage, a decision that brings peace to your child and to your home.